Hello Year 3 and welcome to your next science lesson. Today is going to be a slightly different lesson. We're going to be making a labelled model of a tooth. But before we start that, I've written the names of 3 different types of teeth: incisors, canines, molars. I would like you just to write one fact about each of those teeth. It could be where you find those teeth, the shape of those teeth, or the jobs of those teeth. You might be able to write more than one fact about each tooth. So pause the video for a minute and see if you can write at least one fact about each of these types of teeth. And I'll add 1 or 2 things to the board as well. So pause the video and see if you can do that. Well done, Year 3. I've just written one thing for each of these different types of teeth. Incisors used for biting, canines used for tearing food, and molars at the back of your jaw used for chewing. In your last lesson, you were talking about milk teeth and adult teeth. As my next challenge, I would like you to try to write 2 differences between milk teeth, baby teeth, and adult teeth. You might think about what happens to milk teeth compared to adult teeth, the different types of teeth you have when you have milk teeth compared to when you have adult teeth, or the amount of milk teeth you have compared to the amount of adult teeth you have. So see if you can add 2 differences between milk teeth and adult teeth. You can pause the video and you could attempt to add some of those things to the board. Well done if you completed both of those tasks so far, Year 3. Today we're going to start now the model. You're going to need this sheet that I've attached. If you haven't got it already, could you please print that to start with? And I think the best way for us to do this today is to do it step by step. So today you will need to be pausing the video in between. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide. You could just watch it all the way through, but that might be a little bit more confusing. I think doing it step by step might be a little bit easier. So the very first step is to colour it. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to colour it the correct colours that it's meant to be coloured. We have the bottom of the tooth here, and we're going to add the different parts on top: the crown, the pulp, the dentine, the different parts of the pulp, the left side and the right side of the pulp, and then the top part of the tooth that will go over the top. But I will colour it first and I'll show you how it's meant to be coloured, and then you can pause the video and copy that. Now I'm sure you could probably colour yours a little bit neater than me, especially if you want to earn those Lockdown Legend awards. But I have done mine. I've done this gum, which is red, the dentine, yellow, which is just below the crown and the enamel on the top part of the tooth, and the pulp, red. And these 2 parts will be in the pulp. I have done these 2 bits purple. You could have just done it a darker red. I wanted it to stand out a little bit more. And over here, it's going to be the bottom of your tooth, your labelled tooth, and it is showing the pulp and the dentine and just the top part of the gum as well. So the first job will be to colour it exactly like this, in pretty much the same colours, although your pulp could be different. And once you've done that, the very first thing to cut out is to cut out this part here, because this will be the bottom of the tooth. And I'll just do that bit for you now. So this will be the first part that you cut out. This will go at the bottom. And do make sure you cut around the dotted lines around the outside. You can just stick this onto a piece of paper. So this is what your design will look like to begin with. Just stuck down the outside onto a piece of paper, remembering to cut around the outside of where those dotted lines are. The next step is to cut out the pulp and the little left and right rods that go on the pulp, and I'll show you where to stick those. First job is just to cut them out. You should have then cut out these first parts, the left and right rod of the pulp and the main part of the pulp. The first thing we will stick down is these two small parts, but we have to be very careful here because we want it to flap up still and move. So we're just going to glue the bottom part. We're just going to glue the bottom part. And I'll stick that onto mine and just show you. So all I have done is glued the bottom part so it sticks down, but then it still flaps up. So I've just glued the bottom part, and I'll do that with both sides. Just glue the bottom of it so that when it sticks down, it flaps up, just like that. And as you can see then, we're making a model, and we can see the different layers of a tooth very clearly. And it's the same with the pulp next. This will go on top now, but again, I'm just gluing the very, very bottom so it will still flap up. I'm just going to stick that on top of where the pulp is, left and right rod of the pulp. I'm sure you can do it slightly neater than me. So now you can see the pulp, and underneath you can see the left and the right rod here. And now the next job will be to cut out the dentine, and we'll do the same thing, stick that, just glue it at the bottom above the pulp. I will just do that and show you what it should look like. I have now cut out the dentine, and I'll do the same thing, and I'll stick it just above the pulp. So now you can see the dentine. I've just glued it at the bottom so it still flaps open. You can see the pulp underneath, just like that. The next thing we will do is cut out the crown here, which is the top part of the tooth that you can see, and we'll stick that above where these dotted lines are in that white space, and that can be glued down completely. I'll just do that and show you what it should look like. So I've cut out the crown, and I will stick it where that white space is on the sheet. Now you can almost see exactly how the teeth should look, or the tooth should look. And now the final part is to cut out this bit that will go on the top. And then we'll just see the gum and the top part of the tooth, and then everything else that's below the gum will be underneath the flap. So we'll cut it out. Do not cut off this bit. You will need this bit because this is the bit that we will glue so it will flap open. But I'll just cut it out and I'll show you exactly what to do for the next step. So once you have done that, you have a piece like this, and we're just going to glue down the back of this flap, just like I am here. And it'll just be that flap that gets stuck down on the side of your tooth there. And then you can just fold it back. And now you have a model of a tooth. Where you can see the outside, where the crown is, and this is the root underneath the gum. And you can see the dentine and the pulp below the gum. And it's a great way to remember those different layers. If you do finish quickly and you have time left, you could label the different parts of the tooth by drawing some nice neat lines with a ruler and a pencil, and even write anything you know about those different parts of the tooth. That's what we should end up with today. I will be on Google Meet. If you need any help, you can show me what you've done so far. I'd love to see them. This is a great way to remember. This is often one of the tricky things to remember in this topic, the different layers and the different names. There's lots of new words, and this is a great way to help you remember. I look forward to seeing them year 3.